Welcome everybody. So I am back and I'm bringing you guys a brand new YouTube review. This is going to be for Elysium. So if you see a picture of Elysium in the background, that's what this movie is going to be about. Now Elysium is one of my favorite movies, and this came out a couple of years ago, and this is one of the best of the Neil Blomkamp franchise. I know there's people that have issues with this movie, so this is kind of a guilty pleasure movie of mine as well. But I think this is a really good movie, and I think if you guys gave it a chance that you would like this film. Basically, this movie stems from the rich and the poor, and the rich will live on this gigantic ring-world spaceship called Elysium, and this thing kind of reminds me of Halo. There's some shots of, like the ships going through Elysium, and that looks kind of pretty badass in a way, just because you can see space in the background, they're flying, and you get the atmosphere of Elysium. And the visual effects in this movie is done by Weta Digital, who also did the effects for like King Kong and Lord of the Rings. And Neil Blomkamp had a huge relationship with Peter Jackson back in the day, and they were going to be doing a live-action Halo movie, and that got scrapped, and they eventually did District 9, which is another movie I have to review that I'm a really big fan of, and I think that you guys should see that as well. But this deals with like illegal immigration, and when the rich have all of the wealth and the medical equipment in the world, what's going to happen when somebody that is poor needs that stuff, and what are they going to do about it? And so that plays into sort of the whole theme and element of Elysium, and it's about Matt Damon's character as well as Diego Luna, who is also in Rogue One, a Star Wars story. He's in this movie, and he eventually gets killed off in the later half of the film, but I will not spoil that for you guys just in case you're willing to go see it. But basically, Matt Damon used to be like a drug runner and sort of like someone that went and did missions and stuff for some convicts, and he gets into trouble again, basically because his boss orders him to this machine that he's working on, and it brings in a whole bunch of radiation, giving him cancer, and he only has like a few days to live, just because he's exposed to all those chemicals and the radiation sickness and stuff. It's pretty much killing him, and so this is his race to the finish line, and he has to figure out a way to also stop the bad guys that are on Elysium, which are basically the rich people who are controlling all the lives of the people below them on Earth. And this movie is fantastic. Like, all the ship designs are pretty cool. The base station design for Elysium is really badass. It resembles that of Halo. So if you're going in watching and thinking that, oh, this is going to be another Halo clone, this is not entirely what it's about. It has a little bit of elements to sort of the Alien franchise with the dirty, grimy look of some of the starships and stuff that they're flying around in space. And there's a couple of scenes where, you have fights with robots where, at the beginning of the film where Matt Damon is they commit him for a crime of which he didn't do, and they throw his ass in the ground and everything. He has to go to a parole officer, which that all sparks him being late, and then him screwing up at his job, and then from there on it's just him trying to take down the system. And some of the weapons are pretty cool. You've got this weapon that's like an electric railgun that he uses at one point in the movie and kills several of the bad guys that have his ex-girlfriend hostage, as well as her child in the movie who's sick, and that's kind of the reason why he's going up there as well, to try to help make her better. There's these machines that people lay down into, and they're kind of like cryopods in the Alien franchise, where there's this thing that wraps around them, and then eventually it kind of makes them all healed and better depending on which kind of disease and stuff that they have. It can even reanimate sort of facial features and stuff, as you see at one point in the movie where Kruger, played by Charlton Copley, who's another awesome character in this movie. I'm a huge Charlton Copley fan. I think that his work in the previous movies such as District 9 and the 18 are really good. He always plays these wacky, zany characters, and this character is no exception. He wields a katana, which he uses very often. He also has these cool, little drones that can slam onto people, and then they explode and stuff, which you see in part of the trailer and stuff for this movie. And he rides around this dropship thing that he can pretty much take wherever, and he eventually kills the leader, which is Jodie Foster in the movie, and he's trying to take over the space station of Elysium just because he's kind of pissed off at how things are run and everything. And he goes on this killing spree, and he's trying to also take down Matt Damon, who eventually gets on the Elysium station at some point in the movie. All in all, this is a really good visual effects heavy film. I think if you're a fan of visual effects, if you're a fan of a story with an actual deep, meaningful plot, this is one of those films that is overlooked and underrated for a variety of different reasons. And I think people just hate it just because it's Neil Blomkamp. But Neil Blomkamp has been known for making really, really cool movies such as District 9 and then Elysium. I didn't like Chappie that much just because that movie was just crap all around, but that's another story for a different time. But I think the relevance of what the film is talking about today really does play into an effect of what's going on politically and stuff, and I think the movie was way ahead of itself in its time, and I think that if you go back and watch this movie, you'll see a lot of the things that were going on in that movie that are kind of going on now. One of the things that I really liked is that this is basically a rundown Los Angeles, so it looks like a desert scape, Earth has kind of taken over, and now it's just cleaned out, pretty much all life on the planet and everything. It looks kind of like a dust, like a sand planet now. When you see some of the shots in space, I think it's a pretty cool idea that maybe like in the future and stuff, it might get so run down to the point where there's no running water and things, which is water is already a huge point of a problem in Los Angeles, people running out, and sometimes there's like issues with chemicals and stuff being in the water, and they had that whole water issue thing a while back. So I think that this movie has a lot of things that play into a lot of stuff that's going on now in society, and I think that this movie definitely deserves sort of a rewatch, just so you can kind of understand what the movie's going for. I like the design of the exoskeleton suits; those things were badass, even though, like a few months later, Call of Duty, I think it was Advanced Warfare, pretty much ripped off that entire design, which is kind of bullshit because I'm like, oh, those just look like the Elysium suits. But yeah, I think this movie is really great. I'm going to give this movie about an A. This is just my opinion of the movie, just because I think this is a fantastic and well-crafted movie. Definitely something that you don't see that much these days in terms of special effects extravaganzas. So hope you guys like this review. I know I've rambled on a lot and I've kind of mixed-matched my point of views, but I definitely wanted to get my point of view out there just because this is a movie I definitely wanted to review. And I definitely wanted to get a review out for you guys before I kind of like do other things for the week. And I hope you guys enjoy this review. And as always, guys, rate, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.